I think it's funny. By the way, my name is Steve Springer. I went to MT 76 and 77. I was one of a group that were allowed to attend. I shouldn't say allowed. That went for 2 years. An aside, I want to tell Milt something that's very funny. One time we had a forum in the gym, and the process was people had to bring something to the forum, and people had the choice to pick up what someone else brought and take it with them. Milt brought a ceramic mug, coffee mug, that someone had made, and I want you to know that's still on my dresser in my bedroom. It's still with me.
It's worth $7,000.
I think everybody's heard my story 100 times.
I had it.
MT was the most important aspect of my life. I probably would have been a high school dropout in 1975 when I first attended the high school. I hated it. My first day of school, I got sent down to the principal for being a wise guy. I just was not a happy camper. One of my best friend's brother was at MT the first year. He brought me along one day, and it was like Dorothy walking into Oz. I walked in that day and never walked out. I worked very hard with everybody and my parents and fought the system until they allowed juniors in, and spent the 2 best years of my life learning and growing. I remember, which is still telling people, that when I walked into MT, I was reading at a 7th grade level, and when I graduated, I was reading at a college level. I did go to college. I got a college degree, which, if you speak to my parents, never thought was feasible. It's actually funny, I did go to one college and after a few years dropped out because I went there for a theatrical degree and then realized that school was not for me because I wanted to be an actor, and then ended up going into a whole different field and going back to school and getting my degree, and then going into a whole total different field today. But it's all connected. It's each process, each learning experience brought me to the next level. Vita said something when I walked into the door tonight that is a standard joke from me for 18 years ago when I was here, because a teacher in 10th grade told me that I wouldn't amount to anything and I'd probably grow up and be a sanitation worker. And I said to Vita, I said, you know, I never realized 18 years ago he actually was saying something maybe complimentary, because sanitation workers make a nice living. And that wasn't so bad, but that didn't happen. And thanks to the experience that I obtained at MT, it gave me the ability to have a self-esteem that I never had. I had a big mouth and I could talk, but the heart that was there needed to feel like I was somebody. And that's something I got every single day that I was there. I felt like I was somebody. And that ability that I developed stayed with me for the rest, up until today, and continues. I mean, I'm a corporate executive. You know, I had my own business, which I just merged into another business. I've met as Milt talked about, meeting important people. I've been around very famous people and actors and sports stars who are my friends, and I always wanted, you know, I joke, people laugh because last time I was here, I talked my whole life I wanted to be an actor, and I never continued that process. And then it's funny, being in my business, I ended up being in a movie with Robert De Niro, and, you know, working with Al Pacino, 2 of my idols, becoming friendly with Dustin Hoffman because he comes to the Garden all the time. Every day of my life is wonderful, and I enjoy it. I have a wonderful family. I have 2 beautiful kids, a fantastic supportive wife. My parents, thank God, are still living and live very close, and my dad and I are probably two of the best friends. And as John knows, during my experience here, my father and I didn't get along at all. And one of the things I obtained from being at MT was the ability to challenge him and confront him and deal with our difficulties and get him out on the table, and we're still the best of friends. MT for me is still the most important kid because it has given me the ability to not be afraid to challenge, not be afraid to take an alternative, not being afraid to stand up for what I believe in, no matter who they are. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. I work at Yankee Stadium and at Madison Square Garden, and the first day that George Steinbrenner came back to the team after his suspension was over, I was standing in the elevator going up to the office, and this usher, ticket guy, whatever he was, elevator operator, said to me, you have to get out of the elevator because Mr. Steinbrenner's coming, and he doesn't want anybody to ride in the elevator with him. I said, wait a minute. I said, he's a man, I'm a man. He's the president of his company. I'm the president of mine. I'm not getting out of this elevator. I said, and he was like, the poor guy was shaking. I said, don't worry, you're not going to lose your job. And George Steinbrenner got on the elevator, said hello, I said hello, and that was the end of it.
Well, I did lose my job.
It was funny when John left a message on my machine and had called that he ran into Grace, and this whole process was happening. It was just, it reminded me of a movie I'd seen where friends had been away from each other for a very long time, and all of a sudden it was like a code word they had, and that code word was sent, and everybody came. And that's what it was for me. It was like an important part of my life that just all of a sudden came back again, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And it was funny because when you called the other night and I wasn't home, my wife said, John, Sharon called me. He just wanted to make sure that you were coming and you didn't forget. And I looked at her and said, I hope you told him didn't forget. I've been talking about it every day. And I have a very tough schedule. I work a lot of hours, and I just didn't matter. I had to be here. I wanted to be here because it's still so important to me. And my message is, especially to Milt and Peter and Laura and John, thank you for taking somebody and making him a person. And to everybody else, Dennis, I used to sit and listen to him sing and play a guitar every day. It's just everybody else. It's really great to see everybody, and I'm happy to be here.
Steve, I'm going to interrupt before the next person goes to ask if we could do a variation now because of time. What I'd like to ask you to do is to just pass the ball, pass the line from one to the next, hook your finger in it until it goes as far as it can go around till we run out of line. We have about 10 minutes, 12 minutes left before we go to the next place. And so what I'd like, once we're all connected here, anyone who wants to say anything, just say it. You don't have to wait even for the line to go around. Just keep it going around. Anyone who wants to speak, speak. Don't be limited by this little slip of paper. Be limited only by the time that we have together. That's all. Sure. If you're going to speak, all I'd ask you to do is just hook your finger in like this. That's all. Just hook it.
My name is Joyce, and basically I think that what impacted on me after leaving Maslow-Toffler was that I gained the confidence that I needed to achieve the goals in my life that I really wanted to achieve, but never really thought that I would be able to achieve. And I feel very privileged because I work with dying people, and I feel like that's like the most intimate moment that you could be with someone is when they die. And I never really thought that I would be able to function in an alternative method throughout my life after I left Maslow-Toffler. But I truly feel like everything I do on a daily basis, not my home life, but my work life, is really like an alternative program. So, because when people are dying, anything that works for them is okay. And so that's a beautiful thing. And my message to everybody is that Just do it. That should be like on everyone's license plate. You know, just do it. Don't wait, do it. Whatever it is you want to do. If there are goals or things that you want to do in your life, don't wait for a time to do it. Just do it. And I have 2 beautiful children after years of infertility, so again, I realize how precious life is.
On the way, is there anybody here from 1979?
Oh,
Nobody? Yeah, I thought so. Me too. Okay. And are you? 78. Just curious.
Are you hooked in, Laura? Michael? Good.
I'm Laura. Hi. It's good to see you all again. Even those people whose names I don't remember, because I'm terrible with names. You all know that. I had planned on being here for every single week. That was my goal. Didn't make it. First 2 weeks I was away. And then we had other things going on in our lives. I started a new job. My husband had surgery. So I didn't get here until tonight. But this was, you know, I told my manager today, I am going to be here. So I'm leaving at 4 o'clock. I don't care how many phones are ringing. And I'm here. And I think MT taught me that I'm the process. Everything I do is a process. Every place I've been. People talk about doors opening up when they thought they were closing them. Doors open up constantly. And you make choices. And you have to make them immediately. You can't wait. And on the other side of every death, there's life. It's been a wonderful life. What I got from, it is a wonderful life. It is, it still is. Yeah, no, I'm a long way from that yet. I'm 103 in sandals on Cape Cod. That's it. Anyway, what I got from MT was the most precious thing in the world. I got my life. And because of MT, I went back to school, got a bachelor's, went to work in a new place, did what I wanted to do there, found out that I don't really like management particularly. Got my master's though, get to work with some young people every so often, and I love that. And now I'm doing, I'm a case manager for mental health and substance abuse, and I work in managed care, which is what you all are going to be living with shortly, in just about every aspect of your health. So I'm getting to find out what it's really going to be like, and it's fun. And oh yes, I did. I have an advantage. I was able all these years to keep in touch with Milt and John and Ken and Joe and let's see, Vita. Oh, Vita. Vita's my other self. Johanna, yes. And I know she wanted to be here tonight. She had been trying to get here. She's a lawyer, lives out in the Hamptons, and is the only woman criminal lawyer out there. One of 2 criminal lawyers and the only woman. Doing very well for herself. And it's nice I got to see you tonight, which is a long time I haven't seen you.